Hello friends, I wish and pray that all those who are listening this video must be safe in their respective homes with their relatives and loved ones. I would like to thank the organizing committee for conducting this webinar. I would also like to thank Professor CP Singh and Dr. Ashish for giving me this opportunity to express myself on a very important issue, that is the impact of COVID-19 on international trade and globalization. Before I address, I would like to begin with a caveat that none of my statements are conclusive in nature and any such expectation would be overstatement. I would be dealing this issue in 6 segments. Firstly, I would be giving a brief account on the background of the crisis. Thereafter, I would be telling you the adverse impact of the crisis on international trade. Subsequently, I would be focusing on the possible ways in which the state can move ahead in order to mitigate the crisis, and what I think that in which way they will be moving ahead. I would be also telling you. Thereafter, I would be dealing this important question that whether the post-COVID world would be a world of deglobalization. Thereafter, I would be taking the issues of India-specific issues, that what India can offer to the world or what opportunity India can avail in a post-COVID world. Finally, I would be concluding my observation. Dear friends, as we all know that this pandemic is unprecedented in nature, what the world has not seen in the last 5 or 6 decades. The reason behind this pandemic is a variant of a virus named as coronavirus, and as reports are coming, it is said that it is a chimeric molecule. By chimeric molecule, I mean to say that it is a combination of two molecules. So either the coronavirus must have mutated or evolved naturally or organically in some other animal, and then from there it must have passed to humans, or there could be a possibility which is rare, but as the conspiracy theories goes, that it could be a lab made. uh, well, I will not be discussing this issue further, but what is more disturbing and surprising, that China fudged the information about the impact of this virus on its citizens, about the extent and the potency this virus had, and this was all done in collusion with the WHO, and especially the role of the Director General of the WHO, Mr. Tedros, is highly suspicious and condemnable. Uh, the uncertainty related with this virus is very high, and the world is witnessing a lockdown. Almost 60 nations is in the process of lockdown, either complete or partial, and these 60 countries contribute to 80% of global trade. And if the history of the pandemic is to be believed, there is always a second wave coming. So the future is quite uncertain in that sense. Recent reports are coming from ILO that an equivalent of 200 million jobs is already wiped out, and the WTO has given two predictions. In its positive assessment, it has said that there could be a decline of 13% of the volume of the trade, international trade, which is also very huge. And in a pessimistic viewpoint, the decline could go up to 32%, which is very very huge, and it will bring a situation similar to that of 1930s, where the world witnessed Great Depression. Uh, some of the industries which are directly affected or severely impacted are first manufacturing sectors. The global supply chain, the global value chains, what it is called, is severely hit. And the global value chain means that suppose there is a mobile phone which is manufactured in one country, is not actually manufactured there, it might be only assembled there. For example, in China the many phones are only assembled there. Its components are coming from either Korea, from Vietnam, for Taiwan, from Europe, or from America itself. So the final product you see is a resultant of the cooperation from different countries. So due to the lockdown process, this global supply chain has got a severe hit. The second country, the second industry that is severely hit is food and agro-based industries. Uh, Again, that the complete lockdown has severely compromised the food and agri-based industries, and God forbid there is a possibility of a food crisis in near future. Thirdly, those industries which are more people to people contact is very high. For example, tourism, hotel industry, tourism, these will take a hit which will impact them for a very long time. For example, aviation sector is also one of them. Now some industries will have a reconfiguration, or some industry will have reconfiguration. For example, those involved in textile might be now making masks. Those manufacturing some other products might be now be dealing with the ventilators. The some industry will also get boost in post COVID world. For example, those industries related with the health sector, pharmaceutical sectors, those who are dealing with the technologies, for example, Zoom, webinar, these industries will have a boost. Now, what are the possible ways in which this crisis can be mitigated by the states? So the first is a very ideal way out, that since this crisis is a global crisis and everybody is severely hit, let the all world, all the international organizations, all the international institutions should come together and should fight together, and they should collectively revive the trade. They should collectively revive the demand side and the supply side both. But this is an ideal approach. The other possible way is that there would be fear, there would be certain precautions, and there would be a rise in economic nationalism. So we would see that the states would be imposing more tariff in order to protect their domestic industries, would be fighting a trade war. There would be possibility that the states would go for an autarky. When I say autarky, that means that where the countries strive for self-reliance in both in economics and political terms. This is more likely to happen than the ideal condition, and the reason is that if you observe the global economic integration graph, since 2008 itself, there was a downfall in the global economic integration, and in the pre-COVID world we were witnessing the US and China trade wars. Already domestic tariffs were increased, trade tariffs were increased, in order to protect the domestic industries. So again, things will continue in this fashion. So we will see um, a more nationalistic approach, more in economic policies. So if I want to say that if the pre-COVID world was a world where the private companies were competing with each other in the globalized world, in the post-COVID world, it would be the competition of sovereigns. The governments, sovereign governments would be competing with each other. There will be more role of government in the economic policy or the economic management of their respective state. And now coming to the question that will the post-COVID world is an end of globalization or deglobalization? Well, my answer is that it all depends what do you understand about what do you understand about globalization itself. Of course, there would be a hit to the process of globalization in terms of free trade, but globalization is still there and it will continue to be there, because only the focal points and the standards would change. For example, still we are interacting with this video and this video might be seen anywhere else, so still globalization is there and it will remain there. Of course, the in terms of economic aspect, the free trade will get a hit, at least for some period. Now, what opportunities India's have to offer to the world? Now, as I was telling before, that the role of China was quite full of suspicion, and theoretically no one wants to trade with a partner who is not so trustworthy. So in theoretically, India has a very high chances that if some countries want to shift their setup from China, India can be a substitute because we also have a cheap labor. But for that to happen in practical terms, a lot of Herculean efforts is required. We need to have some radical changes. We need to think in one direction, and we need to assure the world that yes, we are ready and we are efficient enough to provide you this service and fill the gap. I would also like that the world must come together and ensure cooperation rather than fighting some dirty trade wars. But if the COVID-19 pre-COVID era was a phase of neoliberal capitalism where the profit of few was the ultimate aim, this post-COVID era should be the era of humanistic capitalism or welfare capitalism, where the ultimate aim should be that the entire world should progress, and the progress should be egalitarian. Progress should be in all the corners of the world. There should not be a rich poor divide. So I pray that this should happen, and we must reset our priorities. Thank you so much.